me say a special good morning to our listeners, special good morning to our viewers. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. Today being Thursday, the 13th day of November. Good morning to those of you also via social media platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listeners and viewers, once again, welcome. Let me say good morning to my guests this morning. I can always remember, already. And of course, the female officer, my bad for not taking your name on the intro, although it's not your first time appearing on the program, but sometimes the distance between your timing leaves the option of me not remembering your name. So good morning. I'll let you reintroduce yourself, of course, and be getting to the conversation this morning.
Okay. So I am Maureen John, Inspector in charge of the Community Relations Department.
All right. And I should remember that because I always receive information from you on a regular basis. But somehow, I think I would lock that now.
Okay.
I know when I see Inspector Johnson in the information, as always. All right. So, of course, you were representing the Community Relations Department this morning. And our focus conversation would be, we know we're getting into the Utah season.
Yes.
And the presence of the police is something that will be of importance, especially for various events that are happening. And just the overall safety of citizens of the nation, and in terms of what the police will be doing to have that smooth moving of things as we go through the season. So we're going to kick that off with the conversation along those lines this morning. Now, there may be individuals who are there and they're thinking, what is that real purpose and functions of the Community Relations Department? I'm going to kick it off the conversation with that for me this morning.
That's a very good question, because I've worked in immigration for a lot of years, and everybody know immigration. You come to there, put your stamp passport, CID because you're going to investigate. But I've encountered a lot of persons in the past, and they've always, what's CRD? You're in CRD? I did an ad the other day, and people thought I was in traffic. They don't know. So it's very good that we're here this morning to talk about CRD, and it means Community Relations Department. Right? And our duties are threefold. When we encapsulate a lot of other responsibilities, but these are the three that umbrella what we do. So first, we are community oriented. We are responsible for going out into the community, policing in the community, not necessarily policing, but representing the commissioner in terms of community policing initiatives. That entails going into the schools. We deal with complaints in schools with the children. And follow the necessary procedures when dealing with children. Also within the communities themselves, we do a lot of community outreach, a lot of community projects. We're responsible for those. That's one. Secondly, we deal with media relations. Okay. So in terms of disseminating information on behalf of the Royal Grenada Police Force, that's one of our main responsibilities. On that note, I want to encourage persons that we are one of the official source as it relates to disseminating information on behalf of the Commissioner of Police and the Royal Grenada Police Force.
All right. So when we see information coming anywhere else, once it's not from the Community Relations Department, per se,
you should think twice. Definitely.
And once it doesn't possess that seal, let's say CRD and whatever else that comes with it, you should know it may not be authentic in terms of information.
Yes. And we have pages on many platforms. We are on many platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. And of course, we work hand in hand with our stakeholders, including GBN, as it relates to the dissemination of information. And yes, go ahead.
No, I was going to go into this because with all departments there are always challenges. As the Community Relations Departments, you speak about information disseminating, going into the community, speaking to schools and everything like that. There's always a lot of challenge that comes with that. The feedback, whether it's negative or positive, you have to deal with it. You have to maintain that standard that you as a department that you go with, because you're not only representing yourselves, but it's not only the CRD, but you are the you're representing the entire force. You may be the faces that folks may see on a regular basis, especially within the community. You may not see everybody from the traffic department in a community. You understand? Even though they may associate with you depending on what you have to do. But your department is one that folks will see a lot.
Main responsibility. We would
the community is like a whole different thing.
Yes,
because the CRD is something that will be around the entire island from time to time.
It's a different dynamic.
we do have offices, one in Grenville and one in Guelph. So we are actually throughout the island, as you said.
So that's where my question comes in. The challenges as the community relations department. What are some of those challenges that you face, especially that sometimes gives you that extra work to do, as you would say? What are those challenges?
Yeah, well, we have to be on the ground, so you have to be mobile a lot. You have a lot of movements taking place, as opposed to. Apart from being into the communities, we're also responsible for the media, so it's, and additionally, we are also responsible for receiving complaints against our police officers. We have to investigate those complaints and arrive at a fair conclusion.
And that is something very tough to do.
And that is, you can imagine,
I understand that. Dealing with your own is always something.
Definitely.
It's depending on the nature of the relationship.
Yes.
You may have to excuse yourself sometime. Hey, we're ready then, and Inspector John is good.
Right.
You can't deal with it. Yes. You understand?
Yeah. Sometimes you would find too that officers have a kind of negative outlook of the community relations department because we have to perform that function.
Yes.
It sometimes brings a little tension between the department and the officers because nobody likes to have to investigate their own, but it is something that we have to do, and as Corporal Redhead said, we try to do it to the best of our abilities to come to fair conclusions.
Definitely. And maintain a standard also.
Maintain a standard for the persons aggrieved and for the officer as well. Yeah. But one of the challenges I believe that we face daily is the fact that with community relations, persons expect us to know everything all the time. Persons would call the department for any little nuance, any little thing. The community relations department is the place that persons would call and expect to get answers to any question that they would ask.
Yeah. But you all are the police, right?
They say after God is the police.
Yeah, the police. So it's understandable that folks may think, this is where I need to go.
So anytime there's a little, it could be a community disturbance, it could be the community, the fact that our department says community relations, we get those calls all the time.
How is it that distinguished though? I mean, depending on the nature of the situation that the individual may call for. How is that distinguished? Is it you as a community relations receive that information, do you have to pass it on or something that you see, well, maybe we could deal with on our own?
Yeah, so if it's something that we believe that we can handle from our end, we will go ahead and do that. But if we need to refer it to another unit, another department, a station, whatever the case may be, we will do that as well.
Yeah, most times we're a transit point. So we connect persons to the relevant department. They can be helped.
Interesting to know. I mean, I just wanted to get a feel. I know there are listeners and viewers who may always want to get an understanding, that particular department, what is really doing, what it really stands for.
On that note, I just want to inform persons, usually when they have grievances with police officers, they tend to want to go straight to the commissioner's office. Now, I just want to make persons aware that the CRD, we represent the commissioner in that regard. So even if you go to the commissioner, you may be sent to us so that we can deal with the issue.
All right. I mean, it's a matter of understanding the stages that you have.
Definitely.
Understanding the stages. It has to start from somewhere first.
Most definitely.
And you as the CRD, if it becomes to a level where you have to go to the commissioner, it gets to that level.
And what persons need to understand too, that we are a department, but I am in charge of the department, but I still have to report to persons above me. So not every time you would get maybe a conclusion at our office. Sometimes mean that we have to go higher up, we have to go to the ACP, we have to go to the deputy commissioner to reach certain conclusions, and people need to understand that too. So it's not every time you complain about something, a conclusion would be reached at our office immediately. There are processes that have to happen. And sometimes people don't.
I know, because from time to time I'm here, I may do an open line and I may have someone call in relation to an issue or experience they may have with the police. And they may think, well, they have gotten, whatever their complaint may have fallen on their affairs for some reason or the other. But it's not always that.
No.
It's not always that. Because there's a process that you have to go through in terms of dealing with the complaint. Or someone may say, well, I have called the police a million times. And I'm not getting results.
And I'll be honest with you, GT, sometimes when you get those calls, persons saying that they call the police a million times, when you investigate, you realize that the police responded, the police responded, but the person is not getting the result that they want.
We've seen it many times.
They're not getting the result that they want. The police is not acting the way they believe. They believe the police should act in the situation.
I think the police should just arrest that individual and lock him or her up. That's what should be done.
Sometimes this is not what is warranted. So when that happens, person say, well, I'm not getting any response from the police. The police is not dealing with my complaint. It's just that sometimes it's not what the person wants, not the end result that the person wants. So they call and they say they're not getting any result from the police.
You know, we do for a break, but I want to get this part of the conversation out of the way, Albin. Folks may always think police, the responsibility of the police. You know, what is from the definition you will give as a responsibility of a police officer?
I would say most definitely police officers cannot operate outside the domain of the law. So our responsibility is to enforce and to serve. Right? We serve and we enforce the law wherever applicable. And as Inspector John was rightfully saying, a lot of people think that if you don't do it their way, then they're displeased and they keep calling over and over. But they have to understand that what we're doing, we always try to maintain the barricade of the law. Because if we go outside of the law, we will be doing our job illegally. And we want to remain doing our job legally. So, and I want to encourage persons. The laws are there.
They're available.
It's online. Laws.gd
and get there.
Laws.gov.gd. You can challenge a police officer. Of course, not forcefully, but you can challenge a police officer, ask them about the law. Yes,
for some reason.
Definitely. You can quote the law to them.
And if you're going to make a stance and say, "I know my rights," be sure that you know them first.
And from time to time we get taken up with social media, and we may see incidents happening in other parts of the world, and we may feel, maybe we could do the same, but sometimes the laws are tweaked different for our part of the world, and these are the.
And a lot of people look at a lot of American shows and so on. They think that the laws there are applicable, but it's different jurisdictions.
Yes.
We went to a school yesterday, just a case in point, and a child asked us if when we were on our break time we eat a lot of donuts.
Exactly. That's a typical example.
That's what has been portrayed to them by looking at the television. Understand. I mean, I'm happy we get that out of the way. Sometimes these conversations are not had, for various reasons, because folks have a tendency to look at the police as somebody who's just out there to discipline them.
Yes.
You understand? We look at the police as the police is to discipline us or to make us. Some fake may get the impression that the police is there just to belittle me for various reasons. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. There are circumstances where police have to stand up and be a police officer.
And that's why I'm happy we go into the schools, because you get to kind of reframe the psyche of a lot of the children who think that you're just there to arrest and lock up and put in jail. And we just hear something. We're there as Inspector John was saying yesterday, we were in a school, we were doing book reading with the kids and they loved it. We had a great experience with them and we were able to teach them a lot of valuable lessons about being home and not playing with matches and those type of things. When you're in trouble, know your name and address and these type of things. And it was a beautiful experience. So, I'm happy that we're able to go out into the communities, into the schools, and be able to reframe the way the children think about police officers.
As you speak about going out into the community, what are some of those interactions you've been having, especially with communities? Let's leave the schools to once, because we understand what you will get from the younger son. But when we read the adults, the young adults, and so that's when you go to the communities and having these conversations. What are some of those feedback you get from the individuals from when you have those conversations with them?
Well, usually from when we go out, it's usually they're very, very happy to see police officers walking through the communities. Especially we went through the Belmont community the other day, and when they saw the khaki, they were elated, man. They were all over the place. They kept encouraging you guys. We need to see you all more. We love to see when the police come around. Contrary to a lot of popular opinions out there.
Yeah, we're not seeing the police.
Exactly. People. I think it was the day before yesterday. We went to the Mount Rush area, and there were some guys. People have this negative connotation of some guys sitting on the block and they're talking and they're drinking and you might see them and you might evade.
Very interesting conversation that occurs on.
Listen, I had the most educational conversations with these guys, and they kept saying, "You guys need to come back. We really love to see you in the community," and it really helps because we're able to gather a lot of information, know what's happening in the community, know where to respond, know what information to pass on to the relevant stations so they can respond appropriately, and it makes our work easier.
And it makes communication easier for you, especially
Definitely.
in incidents when issues may occur within a community.
Definitely.
Once you have that easier communication with the police and individuals within the community, it makes it easier when incidents occur in terms of information gathering.
Definitely. And it's a bit funny because when we pulled up, they were kind of skeptical because they saw the police van, so they were kind of stiff, and we had to put down the glass quickly and say, "Guys, we just visited." So, that's a beautiful
Even
thing.
though the vehicle is marked community.
It's my community.
All right. Well, we're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, of course, we went over time a whole lot, but let's take that break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
All around the world, rat infestation causes widespread damage.
The 15th annual Wagiti Carib Super Knockout Football Tournament moves into the quarterfinal round. Week 5 starts this Saturday, November 15th from 7 p.m. with 2 big games. Game 1, Caribbean National St. John Sports meets Fontana United. Game 2, St. David's FC versus FC Camahorn. Then this Sunday, another 2 thrilling matches. From 6 p.m., Paradise FC International takes on Crollo FC, while Hurricanes SC play Hard Rock SC in the second encounter from 8 p.m. The football action will be at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Admission $30 on both days. The 15th annual Wagiti Carib Super Knockout Football Tournament is on. Don't miss a game.
Get ready, Grenada. The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on. Sunday, November 16th. The Half Marathon kicks off at Corinth Junction, St. David's, and the 10K from Wyman's House, Woodlands, with both culminating at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Monetary prizes await the top 10 finishers in the Half Marathon and the top 5 in the 10K, the oldest finisher, and even the school, club, or organization with the most participants. Transportation will be provided. The 10K race is open to all under 15 years. Join us as Grenadian General Insurance celebrates 35 years, protecting what matters and powering our champions.
Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This is exciting news for all car lovers and car owners. Get ready for Grenada Auto Fest 2026, a car show with a difference. From antique and classic to modern innovations. Saturday, March 14th at the Roy St. John playing field in Tantine. Car owners, this is your chance to show off. Get that machine ready. Get that ride in mint condition. It's full throttle face-off between old school rides, the hot rod, and the supercharged modern customized rides. This is a family affair. Bring the kids, bring the crew, bring the whole yard. It's the Grenada Auto Fest 2026 on Saturday, March 14th. Get ready.
Grenada Get Ready, GBN, the Ministry of Education, and the Division of Culture proudly presents Christmas Harmony 1.0, the inaugural primary school carol singing competition. Join us on Friday, December the 5th at 1 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Magical voices, festive spirit, and exciting competition await. Tickets, adults $10, children $5. Christmas Harmony 1.0, no better place to be. Be there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Welcome back once again, officers, with me this morning from the Community Relations Department. We have Inspector John and, of course, Corporal Redhead with us this morning on the program. In this segment, we want to talk about, as I mentioned in the intro, it's the youth season approaching. A couple of weeks before Christmas, but there's always that instance of things that build up before the season. And I'm assuming that the Community Relations Department, in cohort with other departments, will have plans that you would like to, of course, throw to the listening and viewing audience this morning, what the police would like to see individuals, in terms of the overall behavior, ranging from even the traffic department, what you like to see folks do with traffic, events folks will be attending, and so forth. The overall security in terms of, your homes and so forth. Folks tendency to want to pray on you around this time of the year. There's a season open for these things to happen. The season certainly open for these things to happen. It's just things that have a way of repeating itself all the time. And sometimes we have citizens we behave in a way that sometimes we tendency to forget and do these things that we know we have experienced it in the past and think, well, folks are not going to do it again. But there are folks who it's what they like to refer to, that's their job. It's their job. They plan and think about ways to prey on you. True. So I want you to get into the explanation of that and some of the tips and some of what the department per se will be getting into in overall in terms of making sure that we have a safe and successful season approaching, which will encompasses everything else. Because what you say today does not only mean for Christmas.
True.
Yes, that's true.
It may be for what will happen in December, January, February, March, going down the line, because somehow they all have a way of intermingling some way or the other. Let's hear from you.
Right. So the RGPF has already rolled out its operational order for the Yuletide season, and we are deeply entrenched as a community relations department. So apart from what the RGPF has set out, the executive, we have our plan also embedded in that. So our focus as a department is public education and sensitization as the season approaches. And we're going to do that in different forms. Of course, we're going to leverage social media as much as we can. We've been trying to build an audience there. I think we're being successful. It is building. And we're going to leverage that as much as we can, especially Facebook and Instagram. Additionally, we spoke about going to schools. We don't want to leave the little people out. What we've realized is that in the recent past, some of the structural fires that we've had were actually set by children playing with matches and other such devices. And we want to speak with them directly. So what we've devised for that is a book. We wrote a story. We illustrated the story. So we go to the primary schools with that story, and we've started that already. We've done 2 schools so far in the St. George's area. We have a list, and we hope to continue that. Before they get their Christmas break. We want to capitalize on them before they go home.
So true. True.
So the book speaks to that, not playing with matches, other safety issues around the house and things like that. They have the opportunity to ask questions, and that's the interesting part. They ask the most amazing
lot of questions.
And
sometimes you wonder what these youngsters get in those ideas from these days.
Yes.
I know.
And we don't have to wonder, no? Yesterday, one bravely told us that our book was illustrated using AI.
They're a lot more intelligent, so they have a lot of access to.
So we target them because we understand the mischief that they can get into. We talk about getting lost and what to do if you get lost. And a little boy yesterday was able to tell us about his experience getting lost once. So that was really a case in point for the other students to learn from. For the secondary school children, we understand what happens with them around this period. It's about socializing and going out as much as they can, hanging out with their friends, whether with or without permission, and those kind of things. So our intention is to engage them in some Q&As, some chat sessions, instead instead of us just standing up and lecturing to them, we're going to have this open chat kind of sessions with them.
What they have to say.
Hear what they have to say as well. And while at the same time educating them on what's the dangers are out there, because I believe there are some of them who are aware, but there are others who take chances for the first time when the Yuletide season comes around. It would be my first time to maybe take a drink, my first time to go out to a show, my first time to do something. We want to speak to these as well, the first timers.
Yes.
And alert them about the dangers that exist out there and how they could keep themselves safe. Okay. And other departments are going to do the same thing. The Special Victims Unit, the Criminal Investigations Department, it's a holistic effort as it relates to sensitizing. Of course, we're going to use mainstream media as much as we can as well in that effort. In addition to that, we endeavor to host some community safety fairs where we would collaborate with some of our stakeholders, and we would have an area set aside where we would have police, business houses, the Child Protection Authority, the Ministry of Social Development, etc., disseminating information as people shop, as people get about doing their things for the holiday season. We are trusting that we can do it in about 3 locations as the time comes down, and we're hoping to get very good participation from members of the public. But as it draws closer, we will disseminate more information about
what are the expectations, per se, for these events that you are calling to have? What are the expectations?
What we want at the end of this is that safety and security become a norm.
Okay.
We want practicing safety and security to become a norm for every Grenadian. That every household would have some focus on security and safety, and not just take things for granted. And I know sometimes as human beings, because we tend to have a mentality, it has never happened to me, it may never happen to me, you just don't know. And I always like to talk about people's experiences. I remember recording a statement from a lady whose house was broken into. And she told me, she said, "Officer, I'm not shaken so much that I've lost things." She said, "I could always replace these things." She said, "I feel violated." And she said, "That's the worst part of it. I feel unsafe all of a sudden. I was feeling so safe in my space, and now I feel so unsafe. I feel so violated that somebody could come into my dwelling place. Thinking
space. You have that level of security."
Exactly.
And it was not to the power that you think it should have been.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was just a simple mistake on her part. She left the window open with the insect screen on.
Yes.
She said, "It looks like a barrier, it doesn't." But it is so easy to take an insect screen out and enter a place. So we want persons to practice. That's what we want to achieve. That at the end of all this sensitization and education, persons would start just practicing safety and security at all times, whether they're going out or they're having a nice time at home or they're driving in their vehicle, wherever they are. That safety and security would be like a password for every Grenadian citizen.
As you mentioned, safety and security, it's important that people know that the best form of defense is awareness.
Yes.
Because you can't respond to what you're not aware happening. Exactly. So if you're aware, if you walk through a dark alley, you might be more susceptible to someone stealing from you. You know, you won't pass there. You might pass in a well-lit area. Okay. Or if you know, around Christmas time, property crimes are on the increase. A lot of stealing is taking place.
That's our current situation, actually.
Exactly.
Property crimes continue to top the list week after week after week. Property crimes continue to top the list. And what we know is that these are crimes of opportunity.
Because it's presenting itself.
Yes, exactly.
You know, from time to time, and you know, property crime conversation with the RGPF is something that we do year-round, that you do year-round. It's not a seasonal conversation.
Yes.
And you know, there have been different departments that came about, even inclusive of the Community Relations Department, inclusive of the CID and so forth, will come and talk about these things. And then you see sometimes people are still having that level of being, how could I say it? Just complacent about the whole issue all the time.
Yeah.
And then you have to run to the police and leave a complaint and make a complaint over and over pertaining to the same issue.
Yeah.
And what I'm really trying to get at is thumbs up. Conversation of this has been repeated from time and time again. And you wonder why is it that even the perpetrators are not even worrying about it themselves. You understand? I the other day I was mentioning to someone who was installing some cameras right now. Criminals are not afraid of that anymore. It's like it's no longer a main deterrent from an interview. It just came into in Grenada or something new. It had a little deterrent. I see a camera and going there.
Yeah.
But individuals have now come to a point where they say, I just put on a mask.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. We see videos of individuals going to turn it off or turn it in a different direction.
Yeah.
It's no longer a deterrent.
True.
So you as homeowners and business owners know you have to come up with new strategies.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And that's the importance of being aware.
And
come
it may cost you. It may cost you some in the beginning, but in the long run it will be saving you so much.
Yeah.
Your peace of mind, your everything, so it may cost you upfront to install or to come up with new strategies to protect your property, but it would pay off in the long run.
It pays off. It pays off in the long. It gives you that sense of comfort also.
Definitely.
Yes, I have cameras, but I have something else that will cause someone not wanting to come there.
Yes, definitely.
And just the same, there are inexpensive means to protect yourself. You could, as simple as building a good relationship with your neighbor, those type of things. You make them aware. I won't be in today. Just throw an eye on the house for me.
No, I was giving someone an example the other day. I said, maybe you may have to get a loud alarm that goes off. Instead of the cameras, get a loud alarm that will wake up the entire community because someone is intruded on your property. Because they've been complaining that even though they do have the cameras, they're still receiving from time to time folks are intruding on their property. And the camera seems to be not deterring them. Even though it's as big and visual as you can see there's a camera right there.
Some of them, they look into the camera while they're doing it.
So maybe if your neighbor gets woken up and has to watch outside and they will see that John is out there, you understand, they will not want to come into your property.
And that's
why I say different strategies may have to be implemented.
And that is why we want to collaborate with some of our stakeholders. Cooperated and I did a little tour some time ago. And then there's some interesting equipment and so that some of our business houses carry that you can use for the safety of your property and so on. And so we want to collaborate with them to have that sharing, so that members of the public can be aware of these things. And it is and as you rightly said, CID has been here, other entities have been here talking about the crime triangle and how if we take away the opportunity, then the crime cannot happen. And little simple things, simple things.
You're leaving the window open.
And not leaving the ladder where it is accessible.
Can't climb up there.
You'd be amazed at how creative these persons are. If they want to get into that property, they would get into the property by some means. The sad part for me is that sometimes there are persons who do all that they can, all within their power to secure their premises and so, but these creative people still find a way
someone is always thinking about ways to counteract.
Definitely.
So I feel sad for persons who make all those efforts, but for me, I would say to persons, make the effort. Make the effort, secure. Think security, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's uncomfortable. You're going to be the one that's always apprehensive and maybe even anxious because it happens to you once. You're always wondering, is it going to happen again?
And that's why your mental stability plays on your some folks, because I live in a particular community and you're hearing what happened to others.
Yes, definitely.
It's sort of plays on your psyche.
It
does.
You understand? And then you see people having, issues of depression and sort of things like that. It may not be happening to them directly, but because I'm hearing my neighbors have their home broken into.
You can't focus when you're out.
And then you're not focused. And then it causes that breakdown, with your health-wise and so forth. You understand? So it's important that folks, do all you can.
Most definitely.
For your overall safety and your health goes with it also.
Exactly.
You feel safe, somehow your health will be also level goes up.
And then what happens too at this time of the year, there is something about the Christmas season that causes persons to drop their guard.
Yep.
The whole celebration of the season, and
you're thinking Christmas is love, right?
Yes. And the number of things you have to get done, and we know how we do it in Grenada. There's always a last minute rush to get things done, and in that rush you may forget to do certain essential little things.
Leave the house, those are locked.
Leave a pot on the fire. Forgot to turn off the oven. Little simple things like that, and then you have a house up in flames and a family that has nowhere to go because they lost their house. So it's while we want persons to have fun and to enjoy the season, you cannot just do it willy-nilly. You have to pay attention to the small things.
We focus this segment a lot on your personal safety, but folks going out to events and stuff this for the season that is approaching. Your overall safety is also important.
Yes.
In terms of your vehicle, your personal self. I'm not sure if you want to share some tips with individuals who are listening, even though it's something that we may have been repeating on a concert level, because sometimes there's a way of getting folks to remember it if you constantly.
But even before we give them tips, we want to remind promoters as well that you have a responsibility to ensure that if you're going to host an event of any kind, but you would require permission, that you need to do so in a timely manner. Ensure that your application for permission gets to police headquarters at least 10 days before your event. And that you have all the details that are necessary listed in your request. Your venue, the time you expect to start and stop, your security arrangements, everything, all the information that we would need to process that request, ensure that it gets to police headquarters, including contact numbers for you, the promoter, or other persons who may be able to answer questions on your behalf. Ensure that is done in a timely manner, otherwise you may find yourself not being able to have your event.
Because of the fact that.
And one of the things we encourage promoters to, when you're considering a venue, please, if you're going to cause any obstruction to traffic, to the public road, the public thoroughfare, in any way, your request may be denied. So pick your venues carefully, away from the public thoroughfare where you're going to cause obstruction and so on, because when the checks are done, you may just find that your permission may be denied. So that's important.
What also does the community relation have to have in terms of people who are having private events, and somehow it's within what we may deem as residential areas, the noise pollution and stuff like that. What does the community relation have to say in relation to that?
Well, that definitely, when they apply for a permit to play music, those things are taken into consideration by the officer responsible for issuing that permit. So persons need to be aware certain things like the time frame that the event will be taking place, what type of event it is, and with the time of the day, if any churches, these type of things.
Because I worry about it sometimes in terms of the time factor that people want to do it. Some folks may want to have an event going up to 2-3 a.m. in the morning, and with the music and the whole loud has been played and so forth. Sometimes folks don't have those considerations. You understand?
And some leeway is given around special times. I would say for Carnival, Christmas, maybe for the New Year's, Old Year's into New Year's. But
informing your neighbors and stuff.
Definitely, you need to be considerate.
But at the same time, promoters again have to be aware that if neighbors complain and the police comes to the scene, they could ask you to turn the levels of the music down. If there are complaints from the community that it's going on for too long or the music is too loud, we can't rest, the police can come and ask you to turn the levels of the music down. So promoters, and I always say, if your patrons can hear the music I don't know why the whole rest of the community
need to hear it.
Needs to hear it. The persons who want to hear it, they're there.
Yeah.
That is something that folks don't look into.
Yes.
You know, if I could play within the vicinity of where we are,
yes,
I don't think the office outside should hear it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, if I can hear it from the outside, it would discourage me from going in.
Inside.
So, you know, we lose more.
Folks feel you may have to turn up the decibel so loud because you think that's way that track individual, but that's not always it. That's not always it. I think norms has taken over what folks should do right.
Yes.
You understand?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, we should it's so normal for us to just turn up with music because we think that's going to attract individuals to come around. Yeah. But then the responsibility part of it now tends to get faded away because we think there's a norm. There's a normal thing we should be doing.
As we on that, we want this. It spills over into the vehicular music also. We want to advise persons that it is against the law and you can be charged for playing the music excessively loud to the annoyance of persons around.
So some having a problem with that at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, some individuals will just comes around to the back of my house and turn the music up.
And the modification of the musical instruments and all of that.
If it annoys you.
You know, sometimes you may want to call. You may want to call, and then they may not stay that long. So by the time
it deprives you
to come, but things of you losing sleep in a canal, you may not be able to go back to sleep. If something disturbs you at 1 a.m. in the morning,
it shows you off completely.
It shows you off completely. You know, and it's just some folks are just being so inconsiderate. That's where the whole problem comes around.
That's the foundation.
I think it's as you said, things that have become norms, and because they've become norms, persons feel entitled.
I can just do that. Right?
Yes, persons feel entitled, and the whole thing about being caring and being considerate of other people's well-being, I think that's something that we're quickly losing, and especially among the youthful population. It's about me and what I want and how I feel comfortable and how I want to roll and how I want to flex. And
it's more individualistic.
And it doesn't care. It doesn't matter if my neighbor is offended by the fact that I'm playing this music at this level.
It just can't be bothered.
Or with these lyrics. It just doesn't matter. I am happy, so that's all that matters.
Well, what thoughts have the Community Relations Department, the RGPF in general? You know, what kind of thinking pattern you have put together in terms of trying in terms of information or something to decrease this sort of behavior? Because you know when it starts to fester to a point, and I think it has really started festering to a point on Island right now.
But the law has provisions for those type of incidences. You know, even I was looking at the Noise Act, this Control Act this morning, and it speaks to if someone complains that there's loud music in the area, the officer has a right to speak to them, inform them that they will be reported. And if it continues, an officer no less than a sergeant can confiscate the musical instruments with a warrant. So it can be taken and you will be brought to court, of course, and based on what the magistrate says, you may or may not receive the instruments back. So, you know, with these things in place, with that law in place, it should deter persons, and then it comes to
and you know, sometimes the complainants too, because of the close proximity of communities here in Grenada, folks are hesitant to do it. I don't know if GT will do that,
And sometimes when you go into the community to inquire, you would find two persons might say, yes, the music is sometimes loud, but it doesn't bother me. So
because of the fact that they know the individual.
And then two other persons may say, no, this is too much. And again, what we realize, it's about relationships too. So depending on how the relationship is between you and the person who is offending, you may tend to speak to the police in a favorable way.
Try to avoid further problems.
To being truthful and say, no, this music is extremely loud.
I understand.
So you get those kind of views when you actually go out into the community to investigate. You would get dissenting views, and then you would get persons who say, it doesn't bother me, it's loud, but it doesn't bother me. So
we're due for a break. Let's take that break, and certainly when we come back, we continue the conversation. We're probably going to invite our listeners as we continue. If there's a question or two if they may like to ask, feel free to do it in the next segment. Stay with us, folks, to the point. Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back.
This Christmas, GBN is lighting up Grenada. From November the 10th to December the 24th, your festive season starts right here with GBN's Christmas Catalog 2025. Start your mornings with Mid-Morning Magic. Weekdays 10 to 12, live fun, giveaways, and Christmas cheer every day. On Friday, December the 5th, the school's Christmas Challenge lights up the Trade Center. 15 schools, 1 trophy, and the voices filled with holiday joy. Then on Saturday, December the 20th, it's Christmas in Kamahan. Live music, food, shopping, toy giveaway, and the grand tree lighting ceremony. And on Monday, December the 22nd, join GBN's Caroling in the City, spreading Christmas cheer all through St. George's. Every Sunday from 5 to 7, enjoy Yuletide Sundays with classic Christmas tunes and prices galore. And from December the 1st, K105's Lights of Christmas. Guess that hidden cash and win. So whether you're singing, shopping, or celebrating, do it with GBN. Connecting with you this Christmas. Our partners making it possible: Flow, Ace Hardware, Foodland Supermarket, Grenada Duty Free, Answer Coating, Banfields, and Koyawa Beach Resort. GBN's Christmas Catalog, connecting you this season.
Get ready, Grenada. The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on. Sunday, November 16th. The Half Marathon kicks off at Corinth Junction, St. David's, and the 10K from Wyman's House, Woodlands, with both culminating at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Monetary prizes await the top 10 finishers in the Half Marathon and the top 5 in the 10K, the oldest finisher, and even the school, club, or organization with the most participants. Transportation will be provided. The 10K race is open to all under 15 years. Join us as Grenadian General Insurance celebrates 35 years, protecting what matters and powering our champions.
Grenada Get Ready. GBN, the Ministry of Education, and the Division of Culture proudly presents Christmas Harmony 1.0, the inaugural primary school carol singing competition. Join us on Friday, December the 5th at 1 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Magical voices, festive spirit, and exciting competition await. Tickets, adults $10, children $5. Christmas Harmony 1.0. No better place to be. Be there.
Listeners, welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. This morning, the Community Relations Department here with us this morning, and of course, we've been sharing a lot. Yeah. And you know, it's a kind of conversation that we know listeners and viewers will have a great interest in. You know, in terms of protecting themselves and just the level of awareness. Mm-hmm. You know, we spoke a whole lot when we started the conversation. What the community relations stands for, what it's all about. That was the the intro of our conversation this morning, which definitely spoke a lot. In terms of getting individuals to understand, we talk about the season that is approaching. Folks may say, well, only in November, what are you talking about Christmas?
It's right there.
But there's a saying time flies. Yeah. You do not 12 hours, let's see. It's like a 12 hours a day instead of that 24. So it's important that we always keep abreast of what's going on. Make sure our alert levels are always up.
Definitely.
In terms of protecting our property and ourselves. You understand? Because folks may have the tendency of just wanting to prey on you for various reasons. And, and of course, Inspector Noel did talk about the youngsters. We have to look out But don't pay a lot of attention, because you've been having a lot of a conversation with them in schools and so forth, letting them know, of course, the do's and don'ts. You know, in these day and age, you don't want to have to lose your property because you just not take the time out to speak to your sons and daughters about things that they shouldn't do.
True.
And you know, sometimes parents sometimes becomes a little lackadaisical. Use for a better word in terms of these things. That conversation with the young ones, you know, understand? Even the young adults also, it's important to have conversations.
Remind them.
Not because you think, well, your son is 16 or 18 already, you should not speak to him, or because, you know, the pressure that comes from other friends may encourage them, especially the young girls these days. We're hearing about the runaways and all of these things. And you know, something I've noticed that is folks may think it's always the females, but we've seen a lot of males get involved in runaway in the arena, and you know, and sometimes we not understand the reason why, and sometimes it's just the little peer pressure that's tapped in on them and causing these kind of problems. So once again, listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two that you may like to ask, feel free to do so. I'm seeing we do have a question from someone here. Let's see what it entails. Someone is saying good morning. Well, they're saying they give up on the police when they call about loud music and la mode. They don't come, and I'm very disappointed in them.
Tell this person that they can reach out to us at the Community Relations Department. We could have a conversation about it and see what can be done in that situation.
I'm sure they are listening. I'm sure they are listening. 4352041. We were talking about, you know, I did ask you, of course, just those basic tips and so forth that individuals should adhere to. You know, that will just make life a bit easier for them as we go through the season. Once again, if you want to just go through them briefly.
One of the things, personal safety is important, because one of the things we realize is trending now to GT, especially among the younger folk. It's we talk about property crime, but crimes against the person. We're talking about the harm offenses, especially. We realize they're starting to trend again. So we have stabbing incidents, we have knifing incidents, we have you know, the broken bottles incidents and things like that. You have to be aware that if you're attending a show or so, especially, be careful about, how do you tell people be careful when they're jumping up and having fun? But you have to be mindful of what's happening around you. And one of the ways that you can stay alert and mindful is if you're not drunk. Watch the amount of alcohol that you consume when you're attending events such as these. I have heard, I don't know, and I have not researched, but I have heard that if you're drunk and you get knifed or stabbed or something, you don't immediately feel it. Sometimes you're not even aware that you got that.
And then it becomes a little bit too late.
Yes, you could lose so much blood within that time and things like that. So part of being aware and being alert is watching your consumption of alcohol. And we're not stopping people from having their fun and drinking what they prefer, but please do it in moderation to a level where you can still remain alert and where you can still, if somebody bunks you too hard and nick you with something, you might be able to recognize it.
And conflict resolution is something that we need to put our, because folks, sometimes that split second can make a whole lot of difference.
And if
I don't always feel that you have to answer back or get into a confrontation all the time.
And the whole notion of using events to settle scores, that is becoming a kind of trend again. So you did that. So that happened. So we would come to the school fair and we go settle the school. We had an after fair activity the other day where a young man got stabbed and had to be hospitalized. And I tell people, not because you don't see things in the news, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. You know, things happen behind the scenes. And we've been having quite a number of those kind of harm events. And we want persons to be aware that that exists, that persons still walk around. And I'm not sure if the RU would get a chance to come here during the season, but they have been confiscating quite a number of offensive weapons and so on so far. So
all right, we do have a caller. Let's see if this caller has to, of course, offer to us this morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, good morning, President. Good morning. If you looked at the recently passed Child Month, the theme which was My Health, My Safety, Our Responsibility, how can that fit into the discussion that is being carried on right now? I await your response.
Thank you, caller. Well, she's talking about the child month activity. You know, sad I didn't have anyone related to that come on the show. I think one was scheduled, but some of them didn't show up. They didn't show up one of those mornings. But I certainly understand where the conversation that the caller is trying to have in relation to that. You know.
Yeah, so it's about for us, it's the general safety of children. Yeah. So it's not just about the health factors, but the general safety of our children. The sexual offenses that are committed against our children is a huge one, and that's where we encourage parents to please try not to leave them unattended for long periods of time or unattended at all. And if you're going to leave them in the company of an older child, even that could be risky. So we usually encourage and say leave them with responsible. Adults. In terms of, again, we spoke earlier about them setting fires and them trying to help with things around the house because it's Christmas and everybody is excited. Limit what they can do. Set lists and set boundaries for them. You know, manage how they're going to spend their time when they're at home so that they don't just sit with their devices and go onto sites that they're not supposed to go on.
So true.
Even those things we want to do with the safety fair, show parents how to set parental controls and so on their devices so that there are boundaries set for the children in terms of using the internet and so on. Right. So for us, it's holistic safety, not just about the health.
All right, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I would want to know, how do we or one determines noise? And at the same time, how do we measure it? And when do you think appropriate noise level is appropriate to certain time of the day? Bear in mind that there is 24 hours. In other words, do you think that if a noise, whether it be music in the day, and it's over a certain level, then, and it's disturbing you, that possibly could ask that the music be turned down, and then the police could, or the police or the people in authority could intervene and tell the person, or the persons who are playing the loud noise, to lower it. And how would they determine if it's been lowered? Or one in the area determine if it's been lowered? By hearing, suppose you put a case, what do you have to come up with in the court? Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Now maybe our final caller for the morning.
That's a very, very, very good question. It shows that you're thinking. That's a wonderful question. The law has provisions for things of this nature. So the law has an equipment you can use to measure the sound.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the law also makes provision in terms of reasonability, in terms of being annoyed. And you know, if John is in the community and he's playing his music in the presence and hearing of everyone, he has bass equipment set up, it's reasonable to say that the noise can be an annoyance to the persons in the neighborhood.
Yes.
If John is playing his music 10 a.m. Sunday morning and there are 3 churches in the area, it's reasonable to say that the noise would disturb the congregation, the procession, and what's taking place at the church, the session of the church. It's still maybe a nuisance and annoyance to the individuals worshiping at the time. So it's all about reasonability, and that's why I say it's very important for persons to read the law.
And yes, the police can respond. I've known that to happen. The police can respond and ask the person to lower the music in some cases. To turn it off completely. Yeah. So you have to be reasonable. There are elderly people in the community. There are children studying. There, the demographic might be different in different areas, but the fact remains that you have to be reasonable as an individual as it relates to loud music.
All right.
And it all spills over into the evidence that would be presented to the magistrate, and the magistrate will determine if the officer is. That's why when the officer arrives at the scene, they also come. You might go to the same distance where the person is and listen. and you arrive at the conclusion to say that it's reasonable to say that this noise, I wouldn't sleep with this music on.
Yeah. But there are instances where now the police comes, may hack the individual to turn down, the police leave, they turn it back up again. You understand? I've seen situations where that has happened. And we know the individuals who are having those difficulties may just decide, I ain't calling back the police.
That's true.
Because it hasn't made a difference
This is something that is a real issue all across Grenada, and I don't know how else we're going to appeal to our fellow men to be reasonable. And I don't know why when you're in your house everybody has to hear what you're listening to, what you prefer to listen to, but it's about appealing to the conscience of our people and asking them to be reasonable individuals. I don't think there's much more.
But do you think the problem could be penalties? I mean, if penalties are applied, maybe folks will have a level of understanding. Well, maybe. I could lose my equipment. I could be charged. I could be sent to prison and so forth. So maybe I will be. Is a way of getting that deterrent, and you have to make a start with it. Because sometimes conversation alone does not solve the problem. You may have a lots of conversation with an individual who's doing that particular thing, but
it has happened before. It has happened where systems were confiscated and so on by the police. It has happened before.
I know someone that happened to, but when their equipment was taken, they just go back and buy a new one.
You have to take it again.
You don't have to do that. I know he's listening and you say GT is talking about me anyway. All right, once again, Inspector John Hoverredden, I want to thank you both for coming on the program this morning. Interesting conversation as always. I think we still have just grazed the surface of this.
Definitely.
In terms of
what is going to happen, other departments are going to come in, they're going to drill down into the safety tips and all those things. So that's going to happen as the season progresses.
All right. So thank you both once again, and best wishes when I don't talk to you folks again. I hope they have an enjoyable season coming up.
Thank you, GT.
Right. Hey folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. All the best folks, have a good one. That's where we say goodbye for today's edition.